Hey fans of literature, this is the B-Side Book Reviews, and today we're going to look at this big book. This big book named Flash. And no, it's not about Flash Gordon or that superhero Flash that runs really fast. Actually, we had a guy in high school we used to call Flash. And I'm pretty sure this book isn't about him. Okay. Flash. Written by... oh boy. You can read the guy's name. Or maybe girl's name. Whatever L-E stands for in the name. I could go look up the pronunciation, but quite frankly, I'm just too friggin' lazy and tired. Margot and I went on a vacation that was supposed to be relaxing, and of course, why spend all that money on airfare when you can just drive? Drive. Why spend money on hotels when you can just drive all night? Drive. Boy, it just takes the mental energy right out of your brain. Anyway, so if you want to pronounce the guy's name, you can go look it up. In fact, the main character in this book is named, Jeannot. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name, Jeannot. I reckon it's one of them French names. So, for the sake of simplicity, we will refer to him as Joe Bob. He has a sister too, and I can't pronounce her name any better. So, she will be known as Joe Bob's sister. Okay, we good with that? Joe Bob. Our hero in Flash will now be known as Joe Bob. So, grab yourself some coffee, or you can just put some Kool-Aid in a coffee cup like I did and call it coffee. And we're going to look at Flash. Futuristic badass Marine, Joe Bob, is kicking butt and taking names. Okay, that's just the beginning of the story. And the battle is all a dream that Joe Bob is having. He's actually a mild-mannered consultant that spends most of his time at his computer while trying to dodge the women that his sister tries to hook him up with. And for some reason, he tends to wear a lot of green as well. But there's more to our story, for this is the 24th century. And even though there are lots of cool new gizmos to play with, corporate and government corruption run amok. And Joe Bob gets caught up right in the middle of it all. While working on some consulting job, our hero becomes a target during some kind of huge, corrupt corporation conspiracy takeover. Okay, I really don't remember. I was daydreaming a lot while I read this book. You see, I had just started playing this super cool new video game about Las Vegas after the apocalypse. And now, you're this wandering dude through the desert, and you're like killing and okay, back to the book. Anyway, whatever happened in the corporate world, well, it was evil and dangerous. So evil and dangerous that our hero, Joe Bob, is attacked and messed up to the point where he has to be put into some high-tech hospital where he comes out with some cool $6 million man Steve Austin types of enhancement. They made him better, faster, stronger, and he moves in slow motion with annoying sound effects. Okay, maybe not to that extent, but he can hear better and he is a little stronger. Now, you had to live in the 70s to get the $6 Million Man reference there. Really shocked they haven't redone that series. I mean, they brought back Magnum P.I., SWAT, Hawaii Five-0, $6 Million Man. It'd have to be like the $600 Million Man now, but they can do it. Yeah. Now, whoever tried to whack Joe Bob also whacked his older sister and brother-in-law, leaving our hero the sole guardian of his young niece-nephew. So now he has to play Uncle Bill. Family Affair reference to young Clarice and Alan, aka Buffy and Jody. And you had to live in the 1960s to get the Family Affair television show reference here. Pretty sure they're not going to bring that one back. So, now Joe Bob is stuck with a couple of kids to worry about. A freelance consulting business to conduct. And oh yeah, he needs to find out who is trying to kill him. Hey, who said the 24th century was going to be easy? Now, whoever tried to take out Joe Bob was messing with the wrong guy. Yeah, Joe Bob is a former super tough guy Marine. Now combine that with his consulting skills, and that makes for some really badass market researching. Of course, every badass market researcher needs a high-tech badass sidekick. Thus, enter Paula. Paula is a side droid that works for Central 4, which I'm guessing is some kind of futuristic police force? Yes. Okay, using his super cool enhancements, his marine skills, his consultant brain, and his cute little RoboCop, Joe Bob takes out the bad guys. Dressing in some kind of futuristic camo referred to as blend-ins, Joe Bob is able to eliminate the corrupt powers by blowing them up in their cars, and takes out a whole General Assembly when he sneaks into a conference room loaded with high-tech explosives. Of course, after he blows up the bad guys, he has to go home and make sure his niece is practicing her piano. And then he tucks the little kitties into bed. Now, I assumed he killed off enough of the evildoers to assure him peace and tranquility. However, I'm not really all that sure. Like I said, I was daydreaming a whole lot during this book. Yeah. Everyone seems so low-keyed and polite in this story. The niece and the nephew were these sweet little kids that were way too well-mannered. Their level of respect and obedience to their uncle was kind of mind-boggling. Not to mention a bit boring and unrealistically annoying. Hey, this is supposed to be the 24th century. I figured by then kids would be smoking dope at 5 years old, or taking down companies on their computers by junior high, or something like that. Maybe, just maybe, the story would have been a bit more interesting if the kids had been some wild, hell-raising teenagers who were stealing Joe Bob's car, staying out all night, drinking all his booze, and sneaking their boyfriends and girlfriends into their bedrooms at night. You know, normal kids. Let's see the ex-Marine here deal with that. And what about Joe Bob himself? Wow. Talk about your mild-mannered consultant. You've got to love a guy who can go blow up a couple of dudes in a car, break into a corporation, and take out an entire conference room, but still find the biggest challenge is trying to get his young niece to practice her piano. Now, as for the bad guys in the book, they all seem to be a bunch of corporate bores that just didn't seem to be all that evil. Everything was business to them. Oh, we have to kill someone? Make it into a PowerPoint and present it at the next quarterly meeting. There was no top nasty dude that I wanted to just rip into the pages and tear at his throat. And what about the side droid, Paula? I'm not overly sure what a side droid even is. Anybody? Now I'm guessing she was some kind of newfangled type of android who is more human than your normal android. Or was she just an android with only one eye? Side droid? Cyclops? Who knows, but apparently she was hot enough to arouse Joe Bob's loins a bit. Her hair and eyes were described in great detail, mainly because they seemed to change with her outfits. Now that's kind of cool. Then again, there's a girl I work with who does that fairly regularly, so I guess no big deal. However, that's about all the details of Paula's physical feminine features we get. Yeah, the book never really described the way she looked in a tight t-shirt or anything like that. Then again, maybe it did. I was daydreaming a lot. Tight t-shirt. Tight t-shirt. Tight t-shirt. Now the praises on the back of the book here says, "This is science fiction at its best." Okay, that's getting a little thick. I personally found the book to be a bit of a drag. Maybe that's why I was daydreaming so much while reading it. I did like all the high-tech stuff that the good guys and the bad guys used. And because our setting is a few hundred years into the future, I kind of expected the kiddos to be playing some ultra-cool, self-simulated video game where they could like go into and become part of the game, but no. They spent most of their time playing the simple board game Parcheesi. Is that the way of the 24th century? Parcheesi? I guess they had outgrown chutes and ladders. Okay, so maybe Joe Bob with this badass when he needed to be. But the book showed far more of Joe Bob, the mild-mannered consultant. Or the Uncle Bill, Back to the Family Affair reference. More of that than the badass ex-Marine, snack on danger, dying on death. Now, throughout the book, Joe Bob spent most of his time at his computer. No wonder I was daydreaming so much. I felt like I was reading a book about a guy doing his taxes. Ooh, yes. Okay, did that expense, deduction. No. Oh, I got 2 kids now. Yeah. Okay, this book tends to get a bit confusing to say the least. Yeah. There is a lot of stuff to remember and keep track of. Stuff like what is the ICC, the PSI, SAFO, Central 4, and so on and so on. Now mix all that in with a few lifeless characters, a dragging storyline, and this really cool video game I'm playing that just keeps drifting into my thought process. Yeah, I'm lucky I can even remotely remember the plot of this story. Or can I? At 480 pages, this book was kind of a yawner. Now, one of my co-workers told me that the author, whatever his name is, was one of his favorite writers. So, when I asked him about the book Flash, he just said, "Oh, it's all right." Yeah, enough said, right? It's all right. Okay, so that was Flash, written by L.E.M. L.E.M. I'll use his initials or her initials, or I was a junior, so I'm sure it's a he. Anyway, maybe this was your favorite book. It didn't do a whole lot for me, but I don't know everything. I do know that if more people stayed home and read books, there would be less traffic issues. Think about it. So stay home and read a book.